Border outdoors, here we come. Border outdoors.
So, all right. Well, are you ready?
Yeah, you lead it off.
All right. Welcome to the Border Outdoors podcast. I'm Scott,
I'm Mac.
and today we have a few kind of new topics to talk about. I did want to start off by mentioning to Kim that I'm gonna do my absolute best with dadgummits and drats, and I just don't know if I can fucking get there, but I'm really gonna try.
You want me to should we just take a picture of the list and put it on the screen so that we can look at it constantly?
We probably need to. Actually, what's going to be worse is as soon as I start drinking, all bets are off. But dadgummit, I'm gonna give it my best try.
Yeah.
So that's topic one. Topic two, I think this is the one we're excited about.
Yep.
I would like to talk about our friends at Huntworth Gear. You've heard Mackenzie talk about this a number of times. He's been buying this stuff now for a couple of years. Swears by it, thinks it's the best. And about a month ago, they called us and they said, "Hey, do you want us to send you a whole bunch of stuff? We've been listening to the podcast. We think you guys are doing a great job, and we'd like your input on our spring line." And this week, through a lot of excitement and stress and everything else, I sent the boys a message that they sent the entire spring line for all four of us. So me, Mac, Tim, and Seth all got Huntworth gear. And those watching the video right now can see Mac is wearing the shirt, and we both have these amazing hats on. And so, do you want to get in right away to talk about Huntworth?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of covered it pretty good. When I saw Huntworth, my brother bought it I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. I had all this random camo, and then like you said a couple years ago, it's something about being dressed up in all the same camo, like pants all the way up, just makes you feel a lot cooler. Plus, all the patterns blend in together really nice. So I bought the Tarnin camo last year from Fleet Farm. I bought just a light shirt and pants. I just wanted something that was durable. I talked about it in the podcast when I went to Wyoming, and it blended in really good. Like with everything I did, it blended in really good, and I really like it. It's stretchy. The fabric's pretty waterproof or water resistant.
No, remember on what day did it show up? Tuesday? Monday it showed up. So it showed up, and we did like a video call. Me and Mac and Seth, and Mac says, "Well, is that waterproof?" And I cracked open a bottle of water and poured it on myself like a stripper. And and as soon as I poured it, the floor was soaking wet, but my arm was bone dry.
Yeah.
It deflected all of it like nothing. I was shocked.
And when we went turkey hunting last week, it was raining pretty good, and walking out there, I wasn't soaked by any means. I was pretty good. Like I was pretty dry. It was damp because it's not like a rain jacket, but you're not going to sit out there and get soaking wet. I mean, I'm guessing eventually if you sit out there all day in pouring rain, you will, but it does a really good job. This new sweatshirt. So I didn't have the sweatshirt, and I freaking love it. Like it's
nice.
It's super comfortable. And it's got the built-in face mask in the hood. And you were talking about it because you have Sitka stuff.
Yeah.
And what's the difference? Do you see a difference in the Sitka versus the Huntworth?
Well, I mean, the Sitka stuff I got was for fall, and so the the bibs I got were, I mean, obviously they're winter. It's apples and oranges kind of a thing, because they're they're fuzzy, they're warm, but the shirt is borderline identical.
Yeah.
the technical camo pattern. The mask is right in the hood, quarter zip. It's got this sort of a quilted interior to it, semi-waterproof. The thing is if I put it on in the dark, I wouldn't know which one I put on. I mean, I pulled out that Sitka one this week, and if I pulled them out in the dark, I wouldn't know which one I put on. The structure of it, the quality of it, everything. If you don't know what you're putting on, you wouldn't know. The only way I would know the Sitka one is different is because the Sitka one has these like mittens built in that you can pull the sleeves out.
That's pretty cool.
Which are yeah, I mean, that's cool. And I definitely used it in the fall, but what we got was spring camo.
Yep.
And so do you need that as much? I don't know. Spring of them are relatively cold and damp. Sure. But when I talked to the fellows at Huntworth when they called, something resonated with me in that they said, that they make this stuff for like regular folks. Sitka is some pricey stuff. It's nice. I'm not going to trash my Sitka stuff. It's nice, but it's expensive. It's damn expensive. And so the same shirt I got at Shields, that is a Sitka, was just under $200, maybe $189, something like that. We looked up the Huntworth shirt that is, as I said, identical, basically, and it's $100. Yep. And so, I mean, for your regular hunter, I mean, what do you do with $100? You buy some more Rage broadheads, you buy some ammo, you buy the things that you need to go hunting with that extra money. So that was one thing that they said that I totally get. And he had mentioned that he didn't mention Sitka by name, but I took it as Sitka to say that they were shooting for 75% of the quality for 50% of the cost. Yeah, that's the big push. And the 50% of the cost, nailed it. You're looking at 200 versus 100, and 75% of the quality. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know. I haven't been around this stuff a lot, but I would argue you have exceeded 75% of the quality. The shirt is exceptionally high quality, and the pants. We were all sending each other videos doing ninja moves and stuff. And
they're super stretchy. Like and they have like all
yoga pants.
They have like the cargo pockets on the side, and they're because today Seth and I went out this morning turkey hunting, and that's the first time he's ever been hunting in it. And because I obviously hunted before, but it's really comfortable. Like when you're walking in, I mean, there was like dew out this morning because it's finally warm, but he tucked his pants in. I leave mine over my muck boots, and it's so freaking comfortable. It's hard to like describe for anyone. Look, you can go. What's nice about Huntworth is they're pretty much anywhere. They're at Fleet Farm, they're at Walmart, they're at all these normal stores that we go to, and you just have to try on the pants. It's kind of a weird type of fabric where it's lightweight but like stretchy. It's not like it's hard to describe what it's made out of, and I really like it. It's almost like a baggy wetsuit, like neoprene. And I haven't had Sitka or tried any other brands, so I'm pretty, I like Huntworth because I can afford it and I like it. And if I tried something else, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, it's worth the money, but I'm cheap. So like if I can get something for 50% of the price and does the same thing, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who could blame you? And especially when you look at it, and like the pants have the protection on the knees, the ass protection. Maybe I'll post that video where I was shaking my ass at you guys just to show it off. And but the thing is when I first talked to them and I called Mac to tell him about it.
Yeah.
My initial thought was that I was just going to send my stuff to you also. Because I don't hunt that much and I've already got all the Sitka stuff. And so, and really, truth be told, everything I had heard is, well, I mean, I like it because I can afford it. That kind of statement is usually a deterrent to me because
yeah,
when
that's
I hear
true.
it's affordable, I picture some cheap garbage that I wouldn't wear. And why would I wear this when I got a thing full of Sitka? And it showed up, and I had been at meetings all day for work. So I'm out at meetings all day for work, and I drive in, and this crusty old maintenance guy that we got, his name is Brian. He's kind of creepy. He's like hiding in the hallways, and he like jumps out to, hey, let me tell you, I went to this lady's house, and I think she likes me. And it's like, okay, Brian, I actually got to work. Anyway, so I pull up to the building, and he walks up and he says, hey, let me know if you guys get some boxes for one of these other offices. And I said, well, have them look out for boxes for me, because I was supposed to get something that was shipped about 2 weeks ago, and I've been waiting on it. And he goes, oh, well, you got 2 boxes in front of your door right now. It doesn't even say the company. It just says your name. And I heard that last half of the sentence from the stairs that I was halfway up running for the door. I was so excited. I'm like, no way, did it show up? Because so many times other boxes had shown up, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. Damn it, it's work stuff. And so this time I got up. It was all the stuff. I opened the box. I took a picture into the box. I sent it to Mac, and he says, I'm going to call you in 15 minutes. And so I opened it up, and I sorted out the sizes. Me and Tim and Ken's and Seth are all different sizes. So I sorted out the sizes. I got my sizes. I opened it, and I just kind of like felt it. Like, I just sat there and like, this is really nice. And it is really, really, really nice stuff. And I put it all on and FaceTime you later, did some ninja moves, but you guys actually went hunting in it.
Yeah.
So I'd talk about that a bit if we could before moving on, if you don't mind. Just the general, I mean, you already have Huntworth, so this is nothing new for you. But
Yeah.
like when you and I went bow hunting a couple of years ago, getting in and out of the blind, there's basically I don't remember if it was a zipper or if it was or what
You had to go through the window.
Yeah, but we like had to climb up through. And one of the problems I had was that I'm short and chubby. Well, what are you gonna do? And another problem that I had was that my pants, they weren't yoga pants. They weren't stretching for me, so I could only get my leg moving so much. So when you guys went turkey hunting, did you have to go through the window, or did you just lift it up and crawl underneath?
Both. So we used 2 different blinds. The one thing I don't have a problem getting in the blind. And as I was crawling in the blind, and Seth had to.
What are you
get out.
laughing? What's funny about that?
So I crawled in, and Seth was walking out, and I was like, "Hey, did I ever tell you the story of what I did to Scott a couple years ago?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, he was crawling out of the blind, and he couldn't get his leg high enough. So I grabbed his foot and lifted his foot up, and he just tumbled.
I think that might have been the same window I'd been peeing out of the whole time too.
It was.
Yeah, that added special torture to it. Thank you for that.
But it was the most awkward, like, oh, and then like when you fell, it was weird. But no, there was no problem. Seth, he took a picture today that I didn't even know he was taking. I had to, as we're supposed to get some wind here, so I was staking the blind in, and I didn't even realize it, but I had like my one knee up, and I was on my other knee, like pushing the stakes in, and you can see that like they're super stretchy.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, I didn't even realize that normally you have to get on like 2 knees for something that doesn't stretch well. And it was kind of like, I felt like an awkward position, but then all of a sudden I looked up and he's sitting there with his camera. I'm like, what? He's like, don't move, don't move. He's like, I took a couple pictures, and I'm like, well, I look like an idiot who sits like this to put a stake in the ground. But another thing about the pants is all like the super, super cheap brands, they make a little bit of noise when you're walking, like you're walking through something and something rubs it, or your legs are rubbing together or something. It makes that little weird noise. These are completely soundproof.
Yeah, it was quiet. Yeah, I noticed that too. They're very quiet. It's like anti-corduroy. Like it's the opposite.
Yeah, like you can actually, you feel that you have the confidence to sneak up on something if you need to. like the pulling back a bow in the blind or whatever you're doing, you're not making any noise besides maybe the string or, grunting if it's too, your draw length's too strong or the poundage is too high up. But it's really nice stuff. I'm really happy we got it because it's nice to
I am
test
too.
out some equipment.
I am too. I'm just excited to get it, and like I got no problem going to a Shields or a Runnings or whatever, and picking up stuff when I need it and blah blah blah. And so for me, it definitely was not about getting free stuff.
Yeah.
To me, the excitement in this is the fact that a brand that we've all heard of and that you have used for years, it is a respected brand, uh, heard of us, listened to us, and wanted our opinion on something. And a bunch of jokers that drink beer and make and tell stories. Occasionally, I guess we do know what we're talking about, and this is somewhat I don't know what you want to call it, vindication of that point that it's not all jokes and beer, and sometimes this is pretty nice. And I actually like the camo. I can see why when you were in Wyoming, the green, black, kind of tan, white, gray, the technical pattern to it. I don't know if you know the answer to this. What the difference between like a classic like mossy oak or the classic camo pattern or like real tree or any of that, but then you get to the like the technical pattern,
Yeah.
like the digital pattern.
It's because it's made on, like, I watched a bunch of videos on Huntworth, and on their website they have it how they came up with the patterns. It's all computerized to blend in with anything at any time, except for like everything completely covered in snow. Say you got like a foot of snow, you're not gonna blend in obviously because you got green and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. But a light snow it blends in, and with this digital camel pattern, what is it? It's disruption is what we got.
Yeah.
This I wasn't like a super big fan of it, but the more that in the kind of the pictures that we've been taking of it, just to kind of get a feel of how you blend in, and it's surprising how well it blends in. Because the other one I have has a little more of like kind of the classic mixture between this computer pattern digital and like the Mozzie oak. It's got like a little bit like some sticks and stuff in there with it, but this is just straight up digital, and whatever they did, they got it right because you wouldn't think having white would work all year round. And I think this digital pattern would really work well out west and like the Wyoming where we were, where there's not a lot of cover, and it would blend in super good out west.
I can totally see it. Just looking at the shirt that you're wearing right now, or the fact that I've got it sitting on the table next to me. But more so, having just come back from um, Montana last year, and
Yep.
driving through the Dakotas and things like that, and seeing all those landscapes and navigating up all the way through Montana, which is must be bigger than Texas. That is the longest state I've ever driven through. But all that landscape that you drive through, and I look at this and I think, if you were wearing this, if you were wearing this and you were not that far away, I wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
So
And like another cool thing about Huntworth though too is the first thing I bought of theirs was a pair of gloves. And it's actually I bought them the day before I shot my first buck, which is kind of weird.
uh,
But on the
you think it
on
was
the
the gloves?
well, that's the first time I've ever shot with gloves on because their
Oh,
gloves have an open palm so that you can put your release through the palm,
really?
and it like seals up tight. So like how your release comes up on like
Yeah,
your palm a little bit for your trigger. Well,
yeah.
that sticks out of the glove. And then you can pull your glove all the way up so you don't have all this excess on like, your fingertips and stuff like that.
That's a
Plus
cool
it's all
idea.
like Berber or whatever that kind of fabric they use on the inside. And they're really warm because it was that day I went I don't know, it was like 2 degrees out and my hands never got cold. And that's one more thing I want to cover quick is with this light spring camo. I mean, it was like 30 degrees when we've gone hunting for turkeys. And the
Yeah.
short walk from the truck, Seth said we were a quarter mile in, and then the walk this morning was even shorter. it holds the heat really well because sitting in the blind and it's 30 degrees out, 38, 40, whatever, and you're not moving, I was never cold.
Oh yeah. Just wearing that stuff, just like as you're sitting there the other night
Yeah.
when we were talking, and I was sitting in my office that I keep at a balmy 72, apparently, ladies in the office, and I was working up a lather.
Yeah.
As we're in here, and I'm talking like this is really comfortable, and I was like, holy smokes, I'm gonna take a shower when I get home. That the shirt is really really warm. Do you wear anything under the pants?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. You know what I thought was cool about the pants? So right before your brother Matt's wedding, I went to like a local haberdasher, a purveyor of men's clothing, and to get dress clothes, to get a nice shirt and some pants and blah blah blah. And they sewed this. It was almost felt like rubber into the waistline of the pants so that your shirt wouldn't come untucked. I noticed that with these pants that they got that like rubbery stuff in there to keep your pants from coming untucked, or to keep your shirt from coming untucked from your pants. So you could throw on a Border Horse t-shirt, which I recommend. Storefront is still up. I know I said I was going to take it down. I didn't. Get out there, buy your Border Outdoor stuff today. By June 1st, I'll get some new designs up. Right now, the whole store is still available. Like every weekend, they do 35% off. So don't buy anything on Tuesday. Always go on Saturday. If you get a sweatshirt, go a size up. Anyway, and so you can tuck in your Border Outdoors t-shirt, and like it doesn't move. Like your pants don't go down, your shirt don't go up. That is badass. I dig that.
And I was thinking about that, and I think the reason why they do that because if you're sitting in a deer stand and you sit down, sometimes your shirt comes untucked. Well, if it doesn't come untucked, then you don't get that breeze or that little bit of a draft coming through,
right in the plumber's crack, right?
Yeah. Well, if you got a big belly and you got to have all the extra room up front when you sit down, and it pulls the back of your shirt up. That's one thing I noticed right away when I got my other ones. They're nice. I've shot deer in them. It's super quiet, comfortable. I wore those pants all the way. I wore them all year. I'd wear those underneath my heavy stuff just because they're that comfortable. Because then if you're dragging a deer, you can take your bibs off, and then you got your Huntworth pants on underneath, and you can drag it, and you're not going to get cold. And it's light. You're not lugging around, big bibs all the time. So
well, I would very much say that if people are interested, I do want to say first, there were no strings attached when they sent us the stuff. If we didn't like it, we would have said we didn't like it. I knew you'd like it because you were already buying the stuff and already talking about how much you liked it. So it was kind of an exciting. That's why it was exciting, because we knew you knew at least that we were getting something good. I was skeptical. I'm a believer now, but we are under no obligation to do anything. Quite honestly, they just sent it to us because they wanted our opinion, and because it's good stuff. That's why we're talking about it. So I know people are in their cars right now going, Jesus, guys, get on with it. Can we talk about getting outdoors and not your friggin' wardrobe? Yes, we will get on with it.
But one thing that's really funny that you said the other day that it was like the joke of the week, because you were going to mail the stuff on Tuesday. And we're like, oh, he's going to mail it right away Tuesday. Maybe we can get it Wednesday before we go hunting, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then Seth called me. He was so excited to get this stuff, and he's like, oh, you think he sent it? I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's like, I could definitely see Scott being like, oh, I got so busy, I'm not gonna be able to send it today. I'll send it to you tomorrow, and hopefully it's there by the time you guys go hunting. All this. I'm like, yeah, but I can see him just being like, oh, when you get home, it's sitting on your front door. And he's like, really? You think that? And I'm like, you never know. And then you text us and said that you're super busy with work. You're gonna ship it at whatever time, and you're like, God forbid, I hope it gets there by the time you hunt. Otherwise, Seth's gonna take a maul to the.
Yeah.
You said
I forgot about that. I did ship it on Tuesday when I said I was going to ship it, but FedEx was closed. They didn't open until 9 a.m. People say this is because of the pandemic. That's bullshit. They're just whatever, understaffing. I get it. They're just saving money. anyway, so they weren't open, and I had to drive clear across the state and then get back. And so I did get it shipped, but yeah, then I sent it, and I said, well, God, I hope it gets there on time, or Seth's gonna treat the mailman like he does a sliding door.
Yeah. At 2 a.m.
At 2 a.m, yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, just picturing Seth. What did he throw a brick through the?
He took a mall. He took like a
Oh, like a
a-
splitting.
a splitting mall to his patio door in the basement.
Well, I'm just glad it showed up.
Yeah.
It came Thursday, and we can transition into talking about your Friday hunt a little right after I again under no obligation, but I appreciate it. I love the stuff, guys. Thank you to Huntworth, and everybody can go to huntworthgear.com to get their own stuff. Otherwise, as Mackenzie said, they have that at Fleet Farm. I haven't been in a Walmart since 1994, so I'll take your word for it.
You're a Target shopper, aren't you? You're a little more high class.
No, I obviously I've been in a Walmart since 1994. I just hate it. I just hate it there. It's like going to Goodwill. Like you walk in there and you immediately feel like you need a shower. It's like the worst place in the world. Just oh my God. But anyway, I don't mind Target, but the problem is the wife liked Target a little bit too much. So what should just be like, hey, do you want to come with me to get some soap? And like 3 days later, after I've set up camp back in menswears, she's like, oh, I'm ready to go now. I just had to pick out the right greeting card and buy some tampons or whatever. So migrating over to how's the
turkey hunt?
How was it?
Terrible.
All right. Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, it did not go as well as planned. Like, every hunt never does. We were going in there with high hopes that we're gonna shoot 2 toms this morning, and then we're gonna take work off and do a podcast and have a great day. It was a beautiful day today. We showed up a half hour before, walked into the area, right, and we stopped. We're pretty much in the same area you and I were when we hunted, and that little bit of an opening. And I said, okay, here's the deal. We can set up here. I know they're roosting farther up, or there's a couple big oak trees right here. It's an opening here too. So we walk by these oak trees, and we're being real quiet. We don't have any headlamps on. We're just kind of just whispering. And then as we start walking back, I'm like, well, let's go over here. And all we hear is and Seth looks at me, he goes, mother fricker, I think we just busted the roost. And I'm like, what? He goes, and his face was pure like, I'm gonna choke you. Like, we tell people that we're not supposed to bust the roost, and the first time we go to this land, we broke, and I think it was only one bird that was in that tree. And he's like, maybe it was an owl. And he's immediately like thinking like, I didn't make a mistake. I don't do that. I don't make a mistake. And so we're like, let's go over here. And the whole time we set up, he sets up the decoys. I set up the blind. We sit down, and he's just like constantly, you could see it's like wearing on him. He's like, I hope that wasn't the roost. Like, he's like, I think it was one bird. Do you think it was one bird? And I'm like, yeah, it only sounded like one bird. I mean, it was a big bird. I'm like, I'm for sure it was a turkey. Like, whatever turkey was there was gone. So he's just like, oh. So we wait a while. We waited till about 10-15 minutes after shooting time, which was 5:26 this morning, I believe. And he starts doing some calls, and we're kind of just waiting, and we didn't hear a gobble. We didn't hear a single thing besides some frogs. And it was super disappointing because that area has a lot of turkeys, and I don't know why we didn't see or hear anything. I think that's more kind of the frustrating part of it is that we didn't hear a single gobble. And there's a guy that hunts behind us or behind that land, and he was calling me, telling me how there's so many turkeys there, and he was out there yesterday or the day before, probably like 500 yards away, and there's 2 toms walking around over by where we were hunting and all this. And then there's that last night there was a kid on a 4-wheeler in the field next to it, and then there's people doing other things. So he's like, I didn't see any come out of the wood, or I didn't see any come out of the woods. So you should be really good. You should get something tomorrow morning. And to not hear anything, it's kind of like, what in the world is going on? Like, I don't know if,
Is the guy full of shit? I mean, is that possible?
I mean, it's very possible, but I don't know if it's him going, not blaming him, but like people not going in there, because he said he's never hunted it, right at sunrise. He's always gone in there like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Well, if a turkey sees you coming and you kind of do a pattern like deer hunting, it doesn't take much to spook them. And it could have been us walking in there this morning, and trying to set up the blind and making more noise than what we would want to. But it was just a very disappointing morning. But we're going to get back after it tomorrow morning. We got everything sitting out there waiting for us. All we have to do is just walk out there and sit. So hopefully tomorrow morning goes better. I don't know if we're going to try to change up the tactics with calling. Maybe we don't call, or maybe we're more aggressive. It's kind of, I'll leave that up to Seth. He knows a little more about the calling aspect of it.
Yeah, he sent that video. He's quite the turkey caller. What a great job he did.
Yeah, I can't do a mouth call, and he's got like 3 different ones that have different, pitches. It crossed my mind that maybe we weren't calling loud enough, being that there's kind of a lot of noise in that area, being right out of city limits. There's like a major county road right there, and you can hear the cars in the morning rush hour driving. So I thought maybe we weren't calling loud enough, and that we really have to make some noise to get their attention. But maybe
hey, can I ask you a stupid question?
There's no question. It's a stupid question.
I know. There's only
I
stupid
ask
people
stupid
who ask
questions all the time. Yeah.
So I don't turkey hunt. I don't actually know virtually anything about turkey hunting.
Yeah.
And when I see turkeys, they don't look like turkeys. They're very svelte and streamlined and whatever. And then you see you guys talking about the Toms and the Jakes and the guys with like the ball sack on their neck and the blah blah blah.
The beard,
and the big puffed out Thanksgiving looking turkey and blah blah blah. And so what are the turkeys that don't look like Thanksgiving turkeys? You know what I mean? They look like just like regular old birds.
The white ones, or
no,
the female hens.
Like when like females. Like when I'm driving along the highway and I see 10 turkeys, and they're just hanging out, but they're not all big and fat and big puffy feathers all over the place. Do they do that later? Or, like I don't know anything about these.
It's just during the breeding season, so obviously the males puff up, or what like the technical term is strutting. So like the males aren't always strutting like that. That's only like when they're coming up to a female, okay, or another male.
It's like I've never seen a turkey that looked like that, and so I thought, well, you talk about Toms, you talk about Jakes. I think I heard that Toms and Jakes are all dudes.
Yeah, so a Tom is like an adult male turkey, and a Jake is just a younger one.
And then the female turkeys are just called female turkeys?
They're called hens.
All right, hens. Well, how come they don't get cool people names?
Tom and Jake? I don't know.
Tom and Jake and Samantha. Let's get that started.
I'm always.
Can you shoot any of them? Can you shoot females? Can you shoot anything?
Not in the spring. Not in the spring. You can shoot hens in the fall.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. You guys have talked about it on a couple of podcasts. I listen every week. Great show. But I honestly, I know so little about it that like those stupid questions, I had no idea.
Well, I've only gone turkey hunting twice, so I'm not, a professional by any means, but I know that if you shoot a turkey or a Tom, say you shoot a Tom and there's another one there, that Tom will start beating the hell out of the other one. And if you look
beat
at
him while he's down,
yeah, vicious. If you can always see videos of Tom's coming in all strutting and then beating the hell out of guys' decoys.
So they're aggressive.
They're
They're
very
bullies. They're
yeah.
bullies. You're doing the world a favor by taking them some bitches down.
I like I said before, I'm scared to use a bow just because the window of the vitals is so small, and when they're strutting like that, you want to make sure you hit it and it doesn't fly off and obviously die somewhere else or you can't find it. It's kind of like deer hunting.
Yeah, because like I remember way back to like episode like 4, when Matt Kruger was on talking about turkey hunting, and like the feathers almost like form like chainmail, like armor.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. And so like my literally everything I know about turkey hunting, I genuinely learned from the Border Outdoors podcast. That's the only thing I've ever heard about it. I don't have these conversations. I don't go hang out with people and they're like, oh yeah, here's some good info about turkey hunting.
Yeah.
So the podcast with Kruger and then recent podcasts really is the only time I've ever heard about it. And so I just picture like these ball sack neck, big puffed out Thanksgiving turkeys wearing suits of armor that are super aggressive to everything. And I'm just and apparently it's part of a South Park episode, and that's everything I know about it. So
yeah, you would really enjoy turkey hunting, because you don't have to deal with like deer hunting. You have to be scent free and all that. You don't have to deal with any of that. You can sit in there and drink coffee. For the most part, you can sit and BS and talk. You just can't, yell. You talk quietly, and you just sit there and you call, and then you wait for one to gobble, and then you keep calling and trying to figure out where they're coming from.
Well, maybe I'll try that. What do you do with them after you shoot them? Like a deer, you rip their guts out their butt. But what do you do with a deer? You got to pluck it and you got to get the guts out. And
well, a lot of people just breast them out, so you don't have to do any gutting. Depends on if you want to cut like the whole bird, like a Thanksgiving type thing where you can pluck them and do all that. I know there's a lot of you can do like different mounts for like the fan, the tail feathers, and you can do a mount with that.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Seth did a mount one time where he took a turkey foot and he lacquered it or stained it and permanently got it so it's doing the finger like that.
Seth did?
Yeah. So
what does middle finger mean to Seth? Frick you? Is that where we're going with that?
Yeah, I guess. And then like you collect the beard, obviously. It's I guess the longer the beard, the better. It's kind of a trophy type thing. But a lot of people they just take the breast meat. So you just pull open the feathers on the chest and you cut right down the bone, the breastplate, and you got two big, chicken breasts for the most part, but turkey breasts. And then a lot of people say brine them because they are gamey. Brine them with whatever brine you want.
Oh, they don't take the legs, like medieval times or the Renaissance fair. Everybody talks about the big turkey legs. They don't. That's not. Okay. What about dark meat versus white meat on really gamey shit? Does that make a difference?
I couldn't tell you because I've never really ate a turkey.
I feel like it would make a difference. Why is it dark meat and white meat to begin with? Like even on normal old chickens. Anybody know these things?
Yeah, it has something to do with the tenderness of it, right? Like they're the dark meat's on the legs. Am I wrong?
Yeah, so they
use them more. They're using them more, so it's maybe a little more tougher. It's a tougher meat than the breasts because they're not freaking dragging their breasts against the ground all day.
That's painting a lot of really glorious pictures for me. I prefer dark meat, by the way. A lot of people don't. A lot of people like that breast meat. I like the dark meat.
I don't really like turkey all in general. Although the one time, Paul shot my uncle Paul, your brother-in-law, shot a turkey up at his place up north, and he did whatever brine and smoked it, and I ate that, and that was the best turkey I've ever had in my life. So I want to find out what the recipe is, and that's kind of just want to try it. Throw it on the smoker and see how good it is. If I don't like it, then I'll give it to Seth.
Right on. Yeah, that sounds good. Well, that is a bummer. That is a bummer that you had you struck out today. Although I'm sure if Seth were sitting here with us today, he'd say that still worth it. Get out there. It's just great to go out and sit in the blind and have a good time and blah blah blah. And It's always worth it. So
Well, this morning was the first morning where it was pretty much just sun. There was no clouds in the sky, so you actually get that nice sunny morning. Cool. It was a beautiful morning. It reminded me of fall, and I cannot wait till deer hunting. But got a couple more weeks of turkey hunting, so I'm gonna keep trying that and hopefully try to get my first turkey.
all right. Well, you got tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow is a winner, and people will know that because they will listen to this podcast on Tuesday, and
Yeah.
they will have seen the post on our social media on Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Might be Sunday. I don't know. Kid's got a doubleheader tomorrow, so I'm not going to be spending too much time on social. But
If I shoot a turkey before Seth, I'll never let him live that down. Like, remember I went out my third time and got a turkey, and you've been out for like 12 years. But it's all fun. So.
Well, all right. Well, there's other stuff to talk about. Fishing being the first thing, but we are 41 minutes and 12 seconds or so into the recording on this end. Do you want to take 5 minutes? It's a logical stop. Take 5 minutes, come back, and dig right into fishing opener.
Yeah, let's take a little break.
All right. Well, then we will see you all very soon. All right. We're back. We were going to talk about fishing. Before we talk about fishing, I just wanted to say one thing.
What's that?
Today was, I want to say, pushing 60 or so around here.
Yep.
And I like most people, I have a series of text groups going, where, like this group of idiots talks about this thing, that group of idiots talks about that thing. And we have one big text group with all the guys I grew up with. And during our brief break, I checked my phone and I had 30 texts. And every single one of them was a picture of a beer next to a campfire, somebody grilling something outside. One guy had corn on the cob on the grill. That can't be fresh, but or at least not local. But still, everyone said it's shocking how much bitch fizz there was, though. Shocking. Like we're not talking bush lattes. We're talking, White Claws,
Trulies. Yeah.
Which
I like them. If you don't like
I
it,
do.
like I like it's a good mixer in when you're drinking beer all day.
It is. You got to surrender your man card. Your man card.
Yeah.
But I do love that. And so in between all the hunting and the fishing and everything else, I did want to throw that out there, that we're finally getting to that weather where you get out there, you start a fire, you crack a beer. Man, I can't wait.
Oh, I'm loving every minute of it because I shut my heat off on Monday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Open the windows. I've been sleeping so good at night. I wake up in the morning and it feels like fall. It's like a nice 50 degrees in the house, and I'm like, oh yeah, this feels nice.
Well, it's that perfect weather. Steph, Minnesota Steph posted something. I don't remember if she did it personally or on her actual Minnesota Steph page, but about it being that perfect in between where the weather is just right. You can go sit by the fire. The mosquitoes aren't out yet.
Yep.
But the weather's a little cool. You can have a fire, you can have a beer, you can sit outside, no bugs, and that's what it is. It's that it's like it lasts for like 3 days too, but it's like perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Alex had a game last night, and we were watching the game, and I looked over, and my wife had a friggin' mosquito on her face. I told her after like 7 or 8 seconds, but mosquitoes. Anyway. So
Fishing.
Today
this is something that we haven't talked about like hardly ever, and I am really excited.
I am excited too, and it is, as we're recording, today is May the 6th, the day after Cinco de Torneo.
Yep.
And on May 7th, Wisconsin fishing season opens. Minnesota's a week later.
Yep, May 14th.
Okay. And I believe the regulations are roughly the same for both states. Anyone over the age of 16 has to have a fishing license.
Yep.
So if you don't have your license, if you don't have your license and you're in Wisconsin, you're literally too late. Get out and get your license because you're going fishing tomorrow. But
Yeah, they say you're supposed to get it 24 hours beforehand, but I've done it in the past where I've gotten it like that morning of or whatever.
yeah, I've done that a lot. Just go to, it's like the one thing that Fleet Farm doesn't run out of.
Fishing
is
licenses?
Yeah, you could go there and get your fishing license.
Yeah.
And I don't know, in Wisconsin, you don't even need a printed license. It's just attached to your driver's license. So you just show the DNR your driver's license, and that's your fishing license. But I still always do get the printed license for both Minnesota and Wisconsin, keep in my tackle box. I believe there's, in some cases, if the driver's license doesn't work, not having your license can get you a fine. I mean, like, even if you have one, but you don't have it on you, you can get a fine. So
yeah, let's cover something real quick. For the people in Minnesota, we'll go over like a couple of like the boat things. Change your lower unit. Put the rabbit ears on your boat. Make sure it runs good, or take it to a lake. Change the spark plugs. Make sure you got enough oil. If it's got a 4-stroke, change the oil. 2 strokes. Make sure you have enough in the reservoir. You don't want to burn your motor up. Go through all of your gear. Make sure everything's organized, because that's the only time it's gonna be organized all year. Because after next weekend here, the the crap is gonna be everywhere in the boat. That's kind of the way it is. And a couple things, like a couple of years ago, it was really cold. It was kind of like a spring like this, where the water temp was really, really cold. And I know like the news stations around here were talking about, make sure you wear your life jackets, because even if you fall in the water, your body makes a natural gasp for air because it's so cold, and then your lungs will fill with water and you'll drown.
Well, yeah, the shock. You go into shock. You can't swim. You're just sitting there like a dumb shit because you can't swim. You're just in shock.
So I have the life jacket. I wear it all the time, regardless. It's like a fanny pack. And it's got like the pull string with the little CO2 cartridge in there, and it blows up, and then you just grab it and throw it over your head. Otherwise, you can buy the other brands at Shields or Fleet Farm. Everywhere has them now that you can wear them. They're lightweight. Just wear your life jacket. You don't have to wear one of those big bulky ones. You can go for $60 to $100, depending, or even more on what you want to get. Just go get one of those life jackets and wear it. Put your safety switch on your motor, put it on your wrist, put it on your life jacket. I think we already had a runaway motor here in Minnesota. Some guy testing it out and fell out of his boat. There was a story a couple years ago. We sold something to a guy, and he just bought this brand new boat. And up in the Alexandria area, the place he bought it from, the guy that works on the boats, tests them out, all that stuff, fell out and drowned. And the next thing you know, they didn't know where they were, and the boat was sitting out in the middle of the lake just doing circles. He had his steel toe boots on, all that, didn't have a life jacket. Something happened, got kicked out of the boat, in the water he went, and that was it.
You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
Like, this is one of those where I'm going to put the flashlight under my chin and be like, how did night just like tonight, 20 years ago today? So when I was like 13, maybe 14, my parents bought a cottage, cabbage to us, a cabbage in northern Wisconsin, just a little green place, and it was available because the guy who owned it took his boat out, and don't ask me why he was doing the things he was doing, because I don't know him. He was dead before I even heard of him. But he was wearing waders, taking his boat across the lake, fell in as he, hit a wave that he didn't see. It was nighttime, and fell in. The waders filled, took him to the bottom, and he drowned. Dead on the spot. So, like, that's like the complete opposite of what you're saying. You're like, wear your life jacket, do the safe thing. This guy, not only was he not wearing a life jacket, he was wearing his friggin' waders.
Well, he could have been wearing the waders because he didn't have a dock in or something. He's pushing the boat out, didn't want to get all cold. So he just pushed the boat out, hop in, and off you go.
Well, and that's true. And I guess the moral of the story is you kind of always think it's going to be okay. Like, you're always like, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just running across the lake. It's just going to be this or that. I'm just doing this, And, as people, we're generally wired to believe that the rules apply to everybody but us. And so, but you look at it, and in that circumstance, the guy, yeah, he zipping across the lake, fell in, waders filled, he drowned right there on the spot. Still at the bottom of the lake to this day, and if you go swimming, he'll reach up and grab. I know a man died. I should feel bad. But that's bad. And so, wearing your life jacket, just general,
That's bad. Yeah.
safe and sober boating is we all like to get out and crack a beer and do some fishing, but don't be a dumb shit about it. So
Well, and they're cracking down on that stuff pretty hard now. There's DNR officers all over the place on accesses in Minnesota. So just don't drink. Wait till you get home. And make sure you have in Minnesota you have to have a floaty to throw, a throwable floaty. I don't know if that's the way it is in Wisconsin too. So if someone falls in, you got that little cushion that you grab out and throw it. For like a life preserver to help them.
In Minnesota, are the regulations against, are you 0-0 boating? Like you can't have a beer out on the boat?
No, you can.
Because I can't get behind that statement. I mean, I agree, safe boating, wear your life jacket, blah, blah, blah.
Well, if you're not driving.
But you're not going to have a beer out on the boat? Like all the Wisconsin in me says, no, sir. I'm sorry. If I'm going out to do some fishing, now have a beer, have a couple beers, know your limit. If you're a lightweight, have no beers.
Yeah.
But safe and sober boating, to me, is saying, don't be an idiot. Don't, go out and have a good time, do the things you're going to do, but don't say the rules don't apply to me. Don't do that. Don't drink 12 beers out there. First of all, your fishing's going to suck. What are you going to do with 12 beers in you? You can't even hold yourself up, much less catch a fish. Also, you're a danger to everybody else on the lake, and you're probably going to sink to the bottom and scare little kids when they get into the lake. So just be safe. Don't.
Yeah. It's just like deer opener. You're preaching the same thing that people do all the time. Go out there, don't shoot someone, and you always hear about someone shooting somebody because they're being stupid.
Yeah.
Just don't be dumb. Common sense here.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's things that you need to do, and the DNR will tell you. We already covered two of them. Your life jackets, your safe and sober boating. Know the regulations, and if you don't know the regulations,
I can
bring Seth.
Here's a couple. Call Seth.
I'll give you his number. We'll put it in the show notes.
He's already said it like a million times on the show. I'm like, God, you just like giving your random number out. Some chick's gonna call you and be like, hey Seth, how's it going? But the walleye regulations in Minnesota are you can have six walleyes, but you can't have more than one walleye over 20 inches. And then the northern pike says two, not more than one can be over 40. And all in between 30 and 40 must be released immediately. So that's surprising. 2? Well, that's a northeast zone. I don't know. I tried looking up because I didn't know what it was. But Minnesota DNR, shout out. You guys got to make this a little more user friendly. I got to go grab a book. It's a little easier to do it that way. But yeah, so just look up your regulations. Make sure you know what it is. I know Red Lake. I said last time I didn't know for sure. Red Lake is 4, but you can only keep 1 over 17 inches, I believe. Because I already lost my train of thought on what it was. So
as soon as you brought it up, I grabbed my phone because I don't actually know.
And you can catch and
I mean,
release.
the crappies have been biting, but I haven't seen anybody catch and release bass.
Yep, and then bass openers 2 weeks after. Normally, bass used to be, up until a couple years ago, you couldn't fish for bass at all. Bass had its own opening day, but now they changed it so you can go for bass on walleye openers, what we call it in Minnesota. And then you can start keeping them a couple weeks after if you want to. So.
All right. Well, just before the podcast started, Mackenzie and I were in a heated debate. About
The spawning
the spawning,
temperatures.
because the slow thaw, the water's cold. And so everything that I had seen and everybody I've talked to says that the walleye run around here is very much delayed. Last year we were catching walleyes a month ago in the Wolf River and on the Fox River chain. And this year, don't get me wrong, I've heard from many people who have limited out in no time at all. But it's just not what it was. It's just not. It's just not running. And that's honestly, we still had ice on the water not too long ago, and it's been highs in the 40s.
Yeah.
For the most part up until last week, and now we're hitting 50s. Next week we're going to get 70s and 80s. And so the expectation is that the run's going to start picking up a little bit. We're going to start to get a little bit more of that walleye spawn because the water's going to start to warm up. And so we're looking forward to some walleyes on the water. I did read that that because of the slow thaw, the vegetation around the shorelines are not there as much, and because that area is going to warm up quicker, that what they're saying is if you get out on the Wolf, the Fox River, whatever, most people who listen to this are in Minnesota, so they're like, talk about Minnesota, stop telling me about your Wisconsin bullshit. But if you do get out there, that's what they're saying. Is your best luck is going to be along the shorelines, and it's going to start next week. But to your point beforehand, as you were saying, you start getting some of these warm days, and I'm actually going to agree with you only because of one thing. Last summer, when if you recall, I went muskie fishing in the Bay of Green Bay, and we ended up just fishing smallies the whole time, because if we got there on a Tuesday and the water was 70 degrees, by Wednesday afternoon, the water was like 76, 77. And so before we start the podcast, I'm looking at I'm like, Mackenzie, the Fox River system is far too big of a body of water to get that much temperature change in such a short period of time. You are clearly crazy and blah, blah, blah. But I'm on Green Bay, Lake Michigan, basically. I'm on Green Bay. This is a big body of water. And it went up 7 degrees in a day and a half. So you might have some merit to what you were saying, in that the water suddenly spiking as opposed to gradually getting warmer may shock the fish, as opposed to making them bite more. It may make them bite less. So you might be right.
And what spiked the debate? Yeah, that's good to know. What spiked the debate was like the spawning temperatures for walleyes is 42, 40, 45 to 50 degrees. That's when they're spawning. I went on a walk yesterday down to the lake here in town, and there's a guy out there in his boat testing it out before opener. Like we said, maybe he listens to Board Outdoors podcast. I didn't have a shirt on or nothing.
Like any shirt? Did you come onto him?
And he said the water temp in the middle of the lake was 48 degrees. So I was like,
pretty warm, given that it was frozen a month ago.
Yeah, and now with these warmer temperatures, next weekend should be pretty good. Do you want to get into like technical stuff on like where to fish, like gear? What are you thinking?
If you want, I mean, it's.
We
can do whatever we want. This is Border Outdoors. You said it earlier.
Yeah. So like if you're going out for opener on May 14th, this week in Wisconsin, obviously I'm not there. I don't know what the water temp is. That has a lot to do with it. Fish, walleyes now are going to be shallow. They're spawning. If they spawn, they're in the post spawn. They're generally going to be anywhere from 12 to 13 feet and shallower. They're going to be spawning in rocks, sand, any of the gravel, that kind of stuff. If there's an inlet coming into that, they like that better. Wherever the water temp, say you're out cruising and the water temp goes up a couple degrees and you start marking fish, that's a good indicator that, find the warmer water. That's where the fish are going to be. If everywhere else is 48 degrees and you find a pocket of shoreline where the sun's been hitting all morning and it's 50, that's where you want to fish.
Well, I just pulled up my phone. For those watching on the video, they think I was being rude. I was actually looking something up. And what I was looking up is the water temperature in which sturgeon spawn, lake sturgeon spawning. And it's 53 degrees. And the
Okay.
reason that is relevant is because last weekend, there's a small town near here called New London, I believe. It might be Hortonville. Not one of those fun Wisconsin names like Wyowega or Wauwatosa. New London, Hortonville. Anyway, and the sturgeon spawning is very, very much happening as of last weekend. Very, very much to the point that like last year you were here in Wisconsin this weekend, and you can go right down by the water, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of sturgeon in the water. And so if that happens at 53 degrees, that is the Wolf River. So that would tell me that the Wolf River is probably right around that 50-degree mark. And based on what you just said, that should mean the walleyes are going to start running.
Yeah, walleye fishing should be good. Normally on opener, it's a jig head and a minnow or a fat head or a shiner. Stick to like kind of that stuff. Otherwise, you can do plastics. Plastics are good too. I'd say use jig heads anywhere between an eighth to a quarter ounce. Or
Really?
if you're because you're fishing shallow. You're not fishing in 30 feet. And if you're jigging, that's going to keep, you want to stay towards the bottom because they're going to be towards the bottom of the.
No, that's what I mean is when I'm out there, I got 5/8
No.
jigs.
Well, I've never used a jig that big.
It works.
I'm sure it does. And like for guys that are, tooling around, or if you're at night's a good time to use wraps. The number 5 Shad Wraps, really good time for that. Stay between 0.6 and 0.9. You don't want to be any faster than that. I like the plastics are really good too. If I use plastics, like I watch a lot of the videos on YouTube. Tom Boley, he's a Wisconsin guy up by the Hayward area.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that did that big seminar that you're talking about at Shields. He comes in and does the
it was
PowerPoint.
Boley, yeah, with the hummingbirds.
Yep, yeah, he's the guy that does all that. That guy knows how to catch walleyes. Winter doesn't matter. When it's 100 degrees out. He's able to catch them. He knows his shit. It's makes you a little bit jealous and frustrated that he can go out and just to a new lake, find big 28, 29-inch walleyes and catches them all the time.
I bet you he doesn't know how to seduce women at 2 a.m. in a bar. So
I'm sure he does.
I don't either. So I don't even know why I said that. I was trying to minimize his effectiveness, and I don't know.
But he uses Callan. It's a brand of plastics. Jerk Minnow Junior is a really good one. Otherwise, I have it's called the Tickle Shad. It's got like a I'm kind of drawing a blank on it, but it's got like the big tail on the back, and then it's got like all these little tiny things that come off the side for more vibration in the water, and you can pull these little deals off the side the more you want it. You can get them in all sorts of different colors. I've caught them on the white ones, and the Callan googly-eyed jigs is what he preaches too. It's got like the eyes move around in it to keep a little more noise down there and all that. They're really nice jig heads. You can use pretty much whatever color you want. I know a parrot color is really good. I like using like the Fire Tiger pattern. I've used like hair jigs with the Fire Tiger pattern with the white. I've caught 23-inch walleye on that on cedar a couple years ago. I didn't get out fishing that much last year, but this year is going to be a completely different ball game now that we don't all have to go to Montana for my wedding. So I'm really, really excited for this summer.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Last year at this time, I was planning, actually, come to think of it, last year at this time, I was planning to go to the Boundary Waters, but an injury sent us up to Door County, fishing the Bay of Green Bay. For muskies, water temperatures rose so much we didn't get muskies, but we were smallie fishing. And this year, I was talking to the guys, and we're looking at doing possibly a charter for brown trout, depending on, I mean, obviously there's time frames that work out for everything, and whether or not we plan well enough to to make that happen, we'll see. Probably just end up on the bay again, drinking beers and then heading out doing some fishing. Probably I like smallmouth fishing.
It's fun.
That's fun. They put up a nice fight, and we found some nice rocky shoreline where they like to be, and we were we were pounding them. And so I'm looking forward to fishing. I suspect there's a lot of guys like me out there who are dads, and unfortunately this time of year means youth sports as much as it means anything else. So it's tough to get out for those of you who don't have kids yet. Mackenzie, get out there and enjoy it, because I'm not taking anything away. The youth sports are great. It's awesome to spend time with the kids, but those times are a little few and far between when you get older. So take advantage.
Yeah, going back on what you said, smallies, those suckers fight. It feels like you have a giant fish on every time, and it's hard to tell the difference between a 12 and a 17, 18. Like they stick to the bottom. You think you got a nice walleye every time.
Yeah, they put up a hell of a fight. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I don't know why it just popped in my head, but today an ad popped up on my computer for one of these like magnets on a string. I must talk about Alex losing his phone up at Red Lake so much. And so suddenly I was thinking fighting for a smallmouth on the Bay of Green Bay. And all I was thinking was reeling up Alex's damn phone so I wouldn't have had to buy another phone. Anyway, sorry. A little distracted. Anyway, you were saying.
No, we kind of talked about this a little earlier. The difference between fluorocarbon and mono.
Yeah, that was another pre-podcast conversation where I said I thought the terms were interchangeable because I had always heard them used interchangeably, but you actually
they're two different lines. So the fluoro, which when you're walleye fishing, you have like a leader, which isn't a regular leader like your muskie or northern fishing. You do I like doing the fluoro. So I'll do like 4, 5, 6 feet, whatever I feel at that particular day. And I didn't know this, so I knew that it didn't stretch, so it's easier to feel the bottom, especially like in the spring we talked about. You want to stay towards the bottom, feel the rocks, feel all that stuff. But a big difference between the two is the fluoro is clear, so when the light hits it, it goes right through. It's pretty undetectable for a fish.
Yeah.
The mono has it will reflect light a little bit. So sometimes, depending on the water clarity, the fish can pick up on it.
So is that the difference? Water clarity? Like there's no scenario where mono's better, is what I'm saying.
Well, it could be, water clarity. I think mono, I'm not a professional, like I've said before, but mono I think stretches a little bit better than fluoro. But I don't catch fish, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to say yes. That's the reason why I don't catch them, although I said I buy fluoro. But maybe I have some rods that got mono on it, and that's why, is because the fish can see the line and they don't want to bite it. It's not just me being a shitty fisherman.
So I should use mono so I can blame the line.
Yeah, you should.
What about the guys who use like neon yellow?
I've done that too.
Where's that better?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Ice fishing, dirty water. I like it. I buy it because it looks cool. So.
It does. You're right.
But should we get out of here? This mixer is really pissing me off because it's not working again.
Really?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Sorry, Kim, but it's a very frustrating day today. If you didn't do any editing, people would get probably laugh at us on YouTube.
They probably would. So yeah, let's get out of here.
I guess we could. Is there any last minute things you want to talk about for like a Minnesota goodbye?
Minnesota goodbye would be for me to reiterate much of what we talked about earlier, and that the store is open. Stickers, t-shirts, sweatshirts. You can get those grocery bags. Who doesn't want to put their milk and eggs in a Border Outdoors grocery bag? I recommend it. You could do that. The store is still open. Most weekends they do offer 35% off. It's a great time to go and buy your border gear. Kruger and Corey both had some great pictures with the family. I think you and Seth mentioned that. Well, you guys, y'all were in the truck last weekend recording. But yeah, the store's still open, 35% off most weekends. Go buy some stuff. It helps the podcast. We appreciate it. And we also appreciate Huntworth sending us some stuff to try out. Success on their part. It's great stuff. I can't wait to use it more. You guys, good luck on your hunt tomorrow. Huntworthgear.com is where you can get your own. And from a Minnesota goodbye standpoint, I think that's all the stuff that I have until we find something else to talk about for 10 minutes.
No, I'm pretty good for tonight. I'm gonna go to bed and get ready for the morning.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hit stop, and you're gonna give your mother as you jump on the mixer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's time to invest in a new mixer. It's been a pretty stressful podcast, and it should have been done a long time ago.
We'll get out there and buy some t-shirts, folks. We need a mixer.
Yeah. So. All right.
Well, with Border Outdoors, I'm Scott.
I'm Mac.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Border Outdoors podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Be sure to join, follow, and share the Border Outdoors Facebook community page. Please leave us a 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred podcast hosting site. Be sure to tune in next week to see what the guys are talking about. Border Outdoors, here we come. Border Outdoors, here we come. Hunting and fishing, singing and kissing, here we come. So grab your